Hey, hi everyone. Very good evening. I hope you guys are audible. You can put a message in chat saying yes. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Khushbu. Thank you so much, Saloni. So, meanwhile, we have other people join in the webinar. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and quickly we'll start the webinar on a lighter note. We still have some time. We'll wait for others to join as well. And so I would just like to share my screen and I would like to play a video. I was just watching this video today. I found it really funny, and that's how that's why I wanted to share with you guys as well. Just let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I'll play a video. It's a short video, but it's really good.
वॉस को ज्वाइन करना एकदम ही अलग एक्सपीरियंस रहा मेरे लिए। यहाँ सभी बहुत हेल्पिंग नेचर के हैं। अरे यार, मेरा सिस्टम बंद पड़ गया है। 5 मिनट में क्लाइंट कॉल है। किसी का सिस्टम खाली है? Guys, people are very busy over here, you know. Meetings, discussions.
पानी पूरी खाना है ना तो इलायची की पानी पूरी खा।
बहुत डेडिकेशन से काम करते हैं। यहाँ हर छोटे-छोटे सक्सेस को सेलिब्रेट करना जानते हैं। Not just work, we know how to chill. जेंडर इक्वालिटी को काफी इंपॉर्टेंस दिया जाता है यहाँ। अच्छा, एक लड़की आ रही है, इलास्ट्रेटर। 5 बजे इंटरव्यू है उसका। शांत रहना यार उस टाइम पे प्लीज।
कौन आ रही है? कौन आ रही है?
कब आ रही है?
कब तक पहुंचेंगे यहाँ पे?
इंस्टा आईडी मिल जाएगी।
उसका फोन नंबर मिल सकता है?
बता दोगे? अमित, लोकेश, जाओ जगह पे। फोटो ओपन करना।
हमारे क्लाइंट्स हमेशा खुश रहते हैं, कभी खराब रिव्यू नहीं देते।
It was really great working with Protest Story team. They were so professional, so calm. सबसे बेस्ट वीडियो बनाते हैं।
ओवरऑल ईस्ट और वेस्ट, वॉज इज द बेस्ट और वॉज के वीडियोस आर वर्ल्ड्स बेस्ट। वेलकम टू वॉज।
All right, wonderful. So, I hope you guys liked the video. It was on a lighter side. So we'll begin with the webinar. The first thing that we'll do is I would like to introduce Melwyn to you guys. Now, Melwyn, I have been knowing Melwyn for quite some time now, and Melwyn is a seasoned talent acquisition expert with a passion for building high-performing teams. With a background in hiring top talent for industry giants like HCL, IBM, Melvin brings a strategic approach to finding the best fit for any role. He's a lifelong learner, always on a lookout for innovative solutions to complete recruitment challenges. As a champion of diversity, equity, and inclusion, Melvin has a proven track record of attracting and hiring exceptional talent from underrepresented groups. But Melvin's impact goes beyond the office. He's a team player who dives headfirst into any project and activity, inspiring others with his energy and enthusiasm. And sometimes it doesn't go really well as well with that approach. When he's not crushing recruitment goals, you can find him jamming on the guitar. He sings really well, and he likes to explore trails on his bike and bicycle both. With a unique blend of expertise and enthusiasm, Melvin is a true all-rounder that I know who sure inspires and motivates a lot of people around him. So get ready to tap into the wealth of knowledge and wisdom he's going to share with you guys. And I'm pretty sure you guys won't be disappointed. So I'll just go ahead and I'll pass on the stage to Melvin. Melvin, thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate. It's wonderful to have you here on our very first pilot webinar, and I would let you take over from here.
Thank you, Joel. I hope you can hear me. I'm loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Great, great. Thanks. Let's have the PPT. So, thanks for that wonderful introduction, Joel, and thank you once again for inviting me as a speaker to this webinar. I am so excited and delighted to speak and share with all of you today. So, before we begin, I'd like to again introduce myself. My name is Melwyn Kirath. I have around 8 years of experience in talent acquisition in the IT industry. And I worked in campus hiring, lateral hiring, and leadership hiring with HCL Tech before for 5 years. And now I'm working with IBM Consulting. So I would also like to thank all of you who have joined us today for this webinar. I hope we have an engaging session for the next 1 hour, and we hope that this adds value and key takeaways for you. So firstly, I'd like to start with telling you all about a disruption that happened a few years ago. Move to the next slide. So 5 years ago, we witnessed the global pandemic, the COVID-19, which caused a major disruption in the IT industry. It saw the biggest change the world had ever seen as we were forced to go into a lockdown. Now, no industry was ready to face this, and moreover, every single one struggled in the initial few months. But there was one sector that not just survived it, but flourished through it all, and it was the IT sector. The COVID-19 pandemic had a transformative impact on the IT industry, catalyzing rapid change, disruption, and innovation. And here are some of the key effects. Acceleration of digital transformation. Companies across industries sped up their digital transformation strategies to adapt to remote work, virtual services, and online operations. Now, this increased demand for IT infrastructure, cloud services, cybersecurity, and digital collaboration tools. Next, the remote work and virtual collaboration. So the industry had to adapt to remote work very quickly, and companies introduced or expanded to platforms like the one that we are using now, that's Microsoft Teams. We had Slack, Cisco WebEx, and Zoom. And notably, in the Indian households too, we were very quick to adapt to connecting virtually. And the one platform that was used most widely across was Zoom, as it came with free-to-use subscriptions initially. So moving to the virtual collaboration, it highlighted the need for enhanced security, reliable cloud infrastructure, and new ways to manage remote employees. Then we had increased demand for cloud computing. So with the surge in remote work and online services, demand for cloud services skyrocketed. Organizations sought cloud solutions for flexibility and scalability, enabling remote work and supporting changing customer behaviors. Like, for example, in the entertainment industry, as all of the movie screens were locked down, people switched to OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Disney Hotstar, Geo, and this led to huge demands to bring over the releases of movies on small screens. Now, to manage and stream such huge volume of content, it was very crucial to scale up on the cloud technologies. Then we had the rise of e-commerce and digital services. Now, with physical locations closed or limited, the e-commerce, online shopping, and digital services saw significant growth. The IT departments supported these transitions, building more resilient e-commerce platforms, payment processing systems, and digital customer service solutions. Then we had the focus on automation and AI. Now, organization turned to automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to improve efficiency, reduce costs, and manage workflows disrupted by the pandemic. The IT industry saw an increased focus on automating repetitive tasks and using AI for the predictive insights. Then we had the talent and skill shortages. The rapid demand for digital solutions created a skill shortage in areas like cybersecurity, data analytics, cloud computing, and DevOps. This also increased the competition for skilled IT professionals, which eventually led to the high salaries in these areas. Like, personally speaking, I'm sure who's a recruiter who has joined here had seen the highest number of hirings that we had done during this period, which finally had the increased outsourcing and freelancing. Companies began outsourcing IT roles and leveraging freelancers to fill gaps and control costs, further globalizing the tech force. This trend was fueled by the pandemic's economic impact and the need for flexibility in staffing. Overall, the pandemic redefined priorities and processes in the IT industry, pushing for adaptability, innovation, and resilience across businesses globally. Now, the reason why it's important to factor the impact of COVID-19 pandemic is because the conventional and traditional way of work was stumbled, and a new remote and hybrid work mode was embraced by majority, which will continue to be there in the long run. So moving on to the next slide, I want to move to the generational diversity, and this is an interesting view of the next slide. Yeah, so here's an interesting view of the different generations that we have seen over the last 100 years. So today's workforce is more generationally diverse than ever, with multiple generations working together in the same environment, right from baby boomers and Generation X to millennials and Generation Z. Each generation brings unique perspectives, preferences, and work habits that shape the dynamics in our workplaces in profound ways. So let's start by briefly understanding these groups. Now, baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964 tend to value stability, loyalty, and a strong work ethic. They generally prefer hierarchical structures and place significant value on in-person interactions. The Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, is often known for their independence, adaptability, and entrepreneurial spirit. Now, many Gen Xers prefer a more hands-off management style and are comfortable with a mix of in-person and digital communication. The millennials or the Generation Y, that would be me, who were born between the year 1981 and 1996, entered the workforce in an era of rapid technological advancement. This group values flexibility, meaningful work, and continuous feedback. They are often credited with driving the demand for remote work and digital communications. And then finally, we have the Generation Z, born from 1997 onwards. Now, this generation is the most digitally native, having grown up with smartphones and social media. The Gen Z prioritizes purpose driven work. They value mental health and they are accustomed to constant real time feedback and instant communication. So, how do these differences shape the workplace dynamics? When we bring all these generations together, their contrasting preferences can lead to both synergy and friction. Now, for instance, while boomers and Gen X may favor more traditional work structures and and prefer face-to-face meetings, the millennials and Gen Z tend to lean towards flexible hours, remote work, and digital-first communication. Now, this can lead to misunderstandings or perceived resistance to change, but it can also foster a rich exchange of ideas. So the key here is that these generational differences are not simply challenges, they are opportunities. And by understanding and valuing these diverse perspectives, organizations can create environments that not only meet the needs of each generation, but also promote collaboration and innovation. In doing so, we leverage each generation's strengths, helping us build a workplace that is adaptable, inclusive, and resilient for the future. Moving on to the next slide. And in this session, we are going to dive into the concept of expectation mismatch within the workplace. So as we know, the workforce is now incredibly diverse, with multiple generations bringing unique perspectives, skills, and expectations. But with this diversity also comes a challenge, a growing gap between the expectations of newer generations, like millennials and Gen Z, and those of corporate leaders who often come from the older generations, like the Gen X and baby boomers. So when we talk about expectation mismatches, we are referring to these differences in how various generations view work and what they expect from their employees. Like for instance, the newer employees may prioritize flexibility, work-life balance, and purpose-driven roles. On the other hand, corporate leaders who may have had different experiences might emphasize traditional values like in-office presence, structured hierarchies, and long-term commitment. So throughout this webinar, we'll explore specific areas where these mismatches tend to show up most frequently, such as work flexibility, communication styles, career progression, and workplace values. I'll be sharing some eye-opening statistics and case studies to illustrate how these mismatches can lead to real-world challenges such as lower productivity, high turnover or attrition, and reduced engagement. But it's not about only identifying the problems. This presentation will also highlight practical, real-world solutions for bridging these generational gaps. Like, for example, we will look at the companies that have successfully adapted to meet the needs of multi-generational workforce and see what lessons we can draw from their experiences. We'll also discuss how flexible work policies, mentorship programs, and open communication challenge can help create a more inclusive environment that meets the needs of all employees, regardless of generation. So ultimately, the goal of this presentation is not just to understand the differences between generations, but to find ways to build common ground. When companies actively work to address expectation mismatches, they create a more harmonious workplace, enhance employee satisfaction, and ultimately improve the business outcomes. So let's look forward to exploring these topics together and finding solutions that can help us foster a more collaborative and adaptable work environment. So let's move to understanding the new workforce. Let's start with one of the defining characteristics of Gen Z and millennials. They are digitally natives. Unlike previous generations, they grew up with the internet, smartphones, and social media. So technology isn't something that they had to adapt to. It's been integrated into their lives since day one. Now, as a result, they are highly adept at using digital tools and prefer tech-based solutions in almost every aspect of work, from collaboration to problem solving. However, their relationship with technology also influences their expectations around work-life balance. Because they've seen how technology allows people to work from anywhere, they often question why a traditional 9 to 5 structure is necessary. Instead, they tend to value flexibility, believing that as long as the work gets done, it shouldn't matter where or when that happens. Now, this focus on the work life balance means they are more likely to expect remote work options, flexible hours, and policies that allow them to manage their time effectively. For them, balancing work with personal life is essential to maintain well being and productivity. The value purpose driven work and flexibility. Another key aspect of these generations is their focus on purpose driven work. The Gen Z and millennials want to feel that their work contributes to a larger mission or makes a positive impact on society. They're not just looking for a payslip, they're looking for purpose. They want to work for companies that align with their values and make a difference, whether that's through sustainable practices, community engagement, or ethical leadership. And furthermore, flexibility is paramount to them. They want freedom not only in where they work, but also in how they approach their tasks. This means that rigid one-size-fits-all policies can be a deterrent for these generations. Instead, they value flexibility that allows them to tailor their work style and to fit their strengths and goals, fostering a more personalized approach to their careers. So when companies provide this kind of flexibility, they are far more likely to see increased motivation and commitment from their Gen Z and millennial employees. Preferring collaborative environments and feedback-oriented culture. So finally, let's talk about their preferences for a collaborative and feedback-oriented culture. Both Gen Z and millennials value open communication, and they thrive in environments where collaboration is encouraged. They are highly accustomed to working in teams, bouncing ideas off each other, and creating solutions together. Hierarchical top-down structures can feel stifling for them. Instead, they prefer a workplace where they can share their insights freely, participate in decision making, and contribute meaningfully. Additionally, they want regular feedback. So, gone are the days where an annual performance review was enough. Gen Z and millennials expect continuous feedback to help them improve, not just as criticism, but as a constructive tool for improvement. And companies that foster this kind of open feedback driven culture often find that their younger employees are more engaged, motivated, and willing to contribute at higher levels. In summary, for Gen Z and millennials, it's all about flexibility, purpose, collaboration, and growth. So when these elements are present, they are more likely to feel valued, fulfilled, leading to a more committed and productive workforce. So now understanding the leader's perspective. Let's start by understanding the foundational traits of the Gen X and the baby boomers. These generations have shaped the workplace as we know it. Now they bring in a traditional experience-focused approach to their roles. So the baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964 came of age during a time of economic growth, where loyalty and hard work were heavily emphasized. So many baby boomers have spent significant portion of their careers with only one or two employees, and they have deep institutional knowledge and experience in their fields. The Gen X born between 1965 and 1980 often took on responsibilities at a young age due to the societal shifts like rise in dual income households, moving out of their own home to bigger cities, and starting to get independent at early age. Now, this independence fostered a self sufficient, adaptable mindset. The Gen X balance between this tradition and the fast paced changes of the digital world. They appreciate both structure and flexibility that comes with experience. So, together, these generations bring a wealth of knowledge and focus on tried and true practices. They have seen industries evolve and have a strong commitment to workplace processes and stability. Now, their expectations with regards to the in office presence, formal communication, and loyalty. These traditional experiences shape their expectations in the workplace today. One of the most notable expectations is the in office presence. Baby boomers and Gen X value face to face interactions, which to them often signify professionalism and commitment. They are more accustomed to in person meetings where ideas are exchanged directly, and this approach feels more effective and authentic compared to the virtual communication. Formal communication is another important aspect. For these generations, emails, official meetings, and other formal methods are the preferred ways of sharing information, whereas the informal styles like quick chats, text, or emojis may seem less professional or way too casual, particularly to baby boomers. For Gen X and baby boomers, these formal methods of communication uphold respect and clarity in professional interactions. Lastly, loyalty is highly valued. Many Gen Xers and boomers grew up in a professional world where their long term commitment was seen as a key to success. Staying with one company was often a badge of honor, signifying the dedication and resilience. They tend to expect the same level of loyalty from others, and this can be sometimes found as challenging to understand the more frequent job changes seen among the millennials and Gen Z. This loyalty translates into a strong commitment to the company's mission and vision, and it can be an invaluable asset for organizations. Now, their emphasis on stability and long term commitment. Finally, the Gen X and baby boomers place high value on stability and long term commitment. Now, these generations tend to see stability as a hallmark of a successful career, and they often prioritize secure, consistent job roles. They have experienced economic shifts and recessions, which reinforce the importance of steady work with financial security. Consequently, the baby boomers and Gen X often prioritize roles and companies that can provide them long term opportunities and a clear path for growth within the organization. For them, a stable workplace isn't just about the personal job security, it's about creating a dependable environment where goals are met through strategic planning and consistent effort. So, this emphasis on the long term commitment and stability allows them to see projects through right through from the start to the finish, building a strong foundation for the organization's success. So, in summary, the Gen X and baby boomers bring a structured, experience rich approach to work. Their focus on the in office presence, the formal communication, and loyalty offers a contrast to the flexibility favored by the younger generations. But it also provides the companies with the dedication, continuity, and a wealth of institutional knowledge that benefits the entire workforce. So, moving on, we'll have a look at the key areas of the expectation mismatch. The first one, yes, we always talk about the work flexibility, remote, and the in office presence. So, one major area of expectation mismatch is the work flexibility. Newer generations in the workforce who have adapted well to technology often prefer working remotely or the hybrid work models. They see this flexibility as a way of balance, as a way to balance personal and professional lives that reduces commute times and maintains productivity in comfortable settings. Many will feel that remote work enables better work, better focus, and reduce stress. Whereas, on the other hand, many corporate leaders who build their careers in office based settings still see the in office work as the standard for collaboration, creativity, and productivity. They believe that the workplace environment fosters a stronger culture, eases communication, and encourages spontaneous problem solving. The challenge here is that it lies in balancing productivity and connectivity. Remote work can reduce engagement and make it harder to build cohesive teams, yet it forces employees back into the office that can lead to dissatisfaction and attrition. One possible solution to this can be that companies, if they can adopt a flexible hybrid model, thereby enabling employees to see the option of working remotely part-time, while also encouraging them to have the key in-office days for team building and collaboration. Next is the communication styles, that is digital versus face-to-face. The communication styles also differ greatly. Now, the new workforce, especially the younger employees, is accustomed to digital tools like Slack or Zoom or Teams for rapid asynchronous communication. This generation finds digital communication to be more efficient as it allows for faster responses and flexibility in managing time. Now, conversely, many corporate leaders who are accustomed to face-to-face interactions often prefer in-person meetings. They feel that face-to-face communication builds rapport and trust, enables reading of body language, and is ultimately more effective for discussing complex or sensitive topics. The challenge here is that it creates a disconnect. Digital communication can lead to misunderstandings or a sense of detachment, while frequent in-person meetings can be seen as time-consuming and counterproductive. Possible solution? Encouraging a balanced approach that can be effective. Teams can prioritize face-to-face or video interactions for complex discussions while using digital channels for everyday communication. Setting clear expectations for communication methods can help bridge this gap. Next, we come to the career path or the career progression. So today's new workforce seeks rapid career progression with expectations for frequent promotions, development opportunities, and a strong focus on the skill growth. Many newer employees see their careers as opportunities to accumulate diverse experiences and often seek quick advancement as a measure of success. Now, in contrast, the traditional corporate leaders tend to value a steady, more linear growth path, where experience, reliability, and loyalty are rewarded gradually over time. They believe this approach builds a more resilient and dedicated workforce. When career advancement is slow or limited, the younger employees may feel frustrated and disengaged, leading to a higher attrition. On the other hand, the leaders worry that rapid promotions may lead to a lack of depth in the in skills and the understanding. The possible solution to this could be offering alternative career paths, skill development programs, and clear promotion criteria that can help. By creating opportunities for lateral movement, mentorship, and rotational programs, companies can satisfy both the need for growth and the development of a well rounded skill set. And finally, we come to the workplace values, purpose and well being versus profit and stability. The new workforce is increasingly driven by purpose, well being, and social responsibility. They look for work that aligns with their personal values, such as diversity, inclusion, environmental consciousness, and mental health. Now, this group sees their work as part of their identity and they want to have it as a positive impact on the world. Meanwhile, corporate leaders, though recognizing the importance of all these values, they often prioritize profit, stability, and long term viability. Their responsibility to share holders and the financial health of the company sometimes means prioritizing stability over the purpose driven initiatives. The challenge here, this difference can lead to disengagement and conflict, as employees may feel that their values are not aligned with the company's priorities. The leaders, however, must ensure that the business remains financially sound. Possible solution to this, that the companies can work to integrate purpose-driven initiatives alongside profitability goals, and this could involve the CSR or the corporate social responsibility programs, where environmental sustainability efforts and more inclusive workplace practices that make employees feel valued and aligned with the organization goals. So moving on, I would like to discuss case studies and statistics of three of the global companies which recently enabled employee-centric programs. So Airbnb is a great example of how work flexibility can drive employee satisfaction and retention. In response to evolving employee needs and changing work environments, Airbnb embraced a flexible, largely remote work model. So they conducted an internal survey which revealed that 88% of employees were satisfied with this approach. they felt more empowered and balanced in their work and personal lives. So this emphasis on flexibility didn't just improve satisfaction, it also contributed to a 15% reduction in the turnover or attrition. Airbnb's approach shows how remote work can align with employee expectations, especially for a workforce that increasingly values autonomy and flexibility. The company's proactive response to employees' needs in the post pandemic world has allowed it to attract and retain the top talent in a very competitive market. Now, this case demonstrates that meeting workforce expectations around flexibility can directly impact employee retention and job satisfaction. By trusting employees to work effectively from anywhere, Airbnb has created a model that others can look to when it comes to blending productivity with well being. Moving on to the next case study. So, the second case, IBM tackled the digital skills gap head on through an innovative reverse mentorship program. Recognizing that younger employees often bring fresh perspectives and tech savviness to the table. So, in this program, younger employees were paired with senior leaders to mentor them on digital skills, new technologies, and emerging trends in the digital landscape. So, this unique approach didn't just help them senior leaders learn, it fostered the cross generational collaboration and trust. The impact was significant. IBM reported a 50% improvement in digital skills among senior leadership, allowing the company to adapt a more rapidly in a tech-driven business environment. Reverse mentorship also created a cultural shift at IBM, showing that every employee, regardless of experience, has valuable knowledge to offer. It helped bridge the gap between generations and empowered younger employees by positioning them as contributors to the organization's growth. IBM's reverse mentorship program is a powerful example of how companies can address the expectation mismatches in learning and career growth. By valuing the strengths of both new and the seasoned employees, IBM fostered a culture of mutual respect and knowledge sharing, essential for thriving in a digital world. And finally, coming to the next case study, that is for Unilever. Now, Unilever has long been known for its purpose-driven initiatives, but it made strategic changes to truly integrate purpose and well-being into the employee experience. By realigning their corporate values and investing in employee well-being programs, they created a work environment that resonated with a modern workforce seeking meaningful work. The company increased transparency around its sustainability goals, developed well-being programs, and empowered employees to contribute to social and environmental initiatives. The results were impressive. Unilever saw a 30% increase in employee engagement and 25% reduction in turnover or attrition. Now, this outcome also shows that aligning companies' values with the employee values isn't just good for the moral, it's also good for business. Higher engagement levels led to increased productivity, while reduced turnover saved costs associated with the recruiting of new hires and training the new employees. Unilever's approach highlights how modern companies can meet employee expectations for purposeful work and well-being. By embedding purpose and values into the company culture, Unilever successfully enhanced its employer brand and created a more loyal and engaged workforce. So these three case studies highlight that bridging the expectation gap is possible when the organizations embrace new approaches. Airbnb showed the power of flexibility, reducing turnover and increasing the satisfaction by meeting the demand for remote work. IBM demonstrated how reverse mentorship can harness cross-generational expertise and significantly boost digital skills. Unilever provided a model for a purpose-driven engagement, proving that when employee values are aligned with the corporate values, engagement and retention thrive. Now, each of these companies found innovative solutions to align with the new workforce's expectations. And they show us that flexibility, skill sharing, and values alignment aren't just trends. They are essential strategies for building an engaged and future-ready workforce. Few more examples of the successful adaptation. So the Microsoft's 2024 Work Trend Index offers critical insights into evolving dynamics of the workplace. The study highlights that increasing adoption of hybrid work models, which have significantly impacted productivity and employee satisfaction, particularly among the younger employees. Hybrid work allows employees to balance the in-office collaboration with the flexibility of remote work. According to the report, the organizations that embraced hybrid work saw higher satisfaction rates as employees felt more empowered to manage their time and maintain a better work-life balance. Now, this is especially crucial for the Gen Z and millennials who prioritize their flexibility in their work environments. Interestingly, over 50% of corporate leaders reported reevaluating their traditional management practices to adopt to this model. The shift involves adopting to new technologies, refining communication methods, and fostering trust in the remote work settings. Now, these adjustments signal a growing acknowledgement that the rigid in-office only model may no longer suit the modern workforce. So the key takeaway from here is that hybrid work isn't just a trend, it's a competitive advantage. By offering employees the flexibility they value while maintaining the in-person collaboration for team building, companies can align with the generational expectations and enhance productivity. So the second example, the PwC 2023 Workforce Hopes and Fears Survey sheds light on the growing importance of mental health and well-being in the workplace. Organizations that prioritize employee well-being saw a 33% reduction in burnout rates. Now, this improvement was particularly pronounced among Gen Z and millennials who often view mental health support as a critical factor in choosing and staying with their employers. These organizations achieved success by implementing initiatives such as flexible work hours, mental health resources, and dedicated wellness programs. Importantly, they fostered open communication around mental health, reducing stigma and encouraging employees to seek help when they need it. Now, this survey also found that companies with a strong focus on well-being reported higher engagement and productivity levels. Employees who felt supported were more likely to remain loyal to their organizations, demonstrating that investing in well-being isn't just an ethical choice, it's a strategic one. So the key takeaway from here is that as workforce expectations evolve, companies must recognize that mental health is no longer a perk, it's a priority. By aligning the workplace policies with these expectations, organizations can not only reduce burnout, but also build a more engaged and resilient workforce. So together, these case studies emphasize the need for organizations to adapt to changing expectations, whether it is by reevaluating the management practices to support hybrid work or prioritizing the employee well-being. The message is very clear. Companies that listen to their workforce and evolve accordingly are better positioned to attract, engage, and retain the top talent. So moving on and finally concluding this, encouraging the ongoing dialogue and adaptation is the key to success. In a fast evolving workplace, ongoing dialogue and adaptability are essential. Today's workforce expects to be heard, and regular feedback loops enable companies to stay attuned to these expectations as they shift. By creating an environment where employees feel comfortable voicing their needs, concerns, and ideas, the organizations can respond proactively rather than reactively. The ongoing dialogue also opens the door for innovative solutions that benefit both employees and the leadership. For example, hybrid work models, mentorship programs, and mental health initiatives all emerged from the conversations that allowed the employees to express their needs. Adaptation is not about making one-time changes. It's about the mindset of continuous improvement. So ultimately, encouraging ongoing dialogue fosters a culture of openness and mutual respect. It makes adaptation a shared responsibility where every voice contributes to a stronger and more resilient workplace. Then aligning the workforce needs with the organization goals benefits. So finally, aligning the workforce needs with the organization goals creates benefits for everyone. When company focus on meeting the employees' expectations, whether it's through flexibility or well-being programs or the career progression opportunities, they're not only supporting their workforce, but they're also advancing the organizational objectives. Engaged and satisfied employees are more productive, they are more innovative, and they are more loyal. They contribute directly to the company's bottom line, while also they foster a positive and a more vibrant workspace culture. So this alignment is particularly important today as organizations face high competition for top talent and must differentiate themselves to attract and retain the top skilled professionals. Ultimately, a successful alignment between the workforce needs and the organization goals leads to a sustainable and high performing workplace. It's a scenario where employees feel fulfilled and companies achieve long term stability and growth. By listening, adapting, and aligning their workforce, organizations create a culture of shared success. So, in conclusion, the expectation mismatches between the new workforce and the corporate leaders can create challenges, but they can also open up opportunities. By acknowledging and addressing these differences in flexibility, communication, career progression, and values, companies can create a more harmonious and productive work environment. A hybrid model of work flexibility, balanced communication styles, a blend of rapid and steady career progression, and shared purpose driven values are steps that can help bridge this generational gap. Bridging these gaps is not just about compromising, but it's about creating a workplace where diverse perspectives are valued, leading to innovation, employee satisfaction, and long term success. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for being such a patient audience. And let's it for all of you. And let's move on to the Q&A as we have very limited time. So let's open up the Q&A and have the questions coming in.
Hi, Melvin. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful, very informative session. So we certainly have a question here for you. The question is asked by Khushbu Agarwal. The question is how technology advancement is impacting the old workforce. What are the main barriers preventing the older workforce from adopting the new technologies?
Thanks, Khushbu, for that amazing question. And it's a fact that working in the IT industry, technology will become obsolete every 5 years. Like, for example, there was a programming language COBOL, and it went obsolete, and people have moved to Java. Just stating one example. So it is always crucial for every person who is stepping into this IT field that they are always open to adapting to new technologies. Technology will become obsolete every 5 years. Keep that in mind for anyone who is thinking of starting their career in IT. It's always important to continue to upskill yourself every day, every week, every month, and keep on with your certifications, going on to the new technologies, of course, when it is more relevant to your field of work. So it's important that irrespective whether how many years you have spent in any organization, be it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, it is always important to upskill yourself. Now, as a recruiter, I always see this that we are easily open to hiring people who are experience between 3 to 10 years of experience. But it is more difficult when their experience goes beyond that because there's a huge competition out there, and not many people also think about sustaining in the IT sector for the long term. So it's very important that you keep continuing to upskill yourself and stay relevant in today's uh, very competitive market. I hope that answers.
Absolutely, it does. Thank you so much. Any other questions, guys? If you have any question, I would just like to reiterate, you can use the Q&A section to ask relevant questions here.
Okay, so while we wait for the questions, I would like to tell that Joel is. I've worked with Joel in the past, and he is more experienced than me, and I certainly value his uh, experience and the learnings that he has given to me. So, Joel, I would like to ask you a question, and if you can tell me about, and also the people who have joined, that what are the misconceptions in the tech industry? What do you feel are the misconceptions in the tech industry?
Thank you so much for that question. So there are multiple misconceptions in the tech industry that I've come across. I've spoken to multiple leaders recently. So I'm writing an article as well. So this article is published on the website already, and it's a single voice from everyone that says that people, the newer workforces, they expect remote work from day one. And that is something very difficult for the senior leaders to adapt. And so the senior leaders would certainly like to see the resources for at least 2 to 3 years in the office on site, at least in a hybrid working model. So that certainly helps them out really well in guiding them, coaching them, and building the team management abilities within them. The other thing is that the younger workforce, as you have mentioned in your session as well, that they would like to, they want very fast-paced growth. They look at a fast-paced growth, let's say trajectory, and but at the same time, it is very important for the younger generations to understand that sustaining or staying in an organization for a long period of time certainly helps them, build that strong base in a technology, because each technology that you have, you only touch or scratch the surface of the technology if you keep switching, because it takes time to adapt in the working environment, then it takes time learning and everything. So unless and until you spend some quality time with an organization or with a team particularly, that learning curve certainly is not as we would expect that to be. So that's what I have in mind. And there's one more question that we have from Harleen here now. So, hi Melvin, can you help us understand how the perception of loyalty to a single employer evolved across generation?
Okay, so I think as we discuss in this session, that honestly, I have seen loyalty only in the older generations, as you may have also witnessed that in the past two companies and the current company that I'm working. I am so amazed to see that I come across people who have spent 15, 20, 25 years of their service in just one organization alone. And to be honest, I don't see much difference between a person who has stayed in one organization for these many years versus someone who has switched multiple companies, of course, over the period of time, again for 20 to 25 years. And I see a marginal difference. I don't really see a difference there. So talking about loyalty, see, loyalty will come where you are getting good growth, right? And for any organization that offers you good growth vertically, definitely you will never feel the need to switch any company in that sense. So definitely, if you are moving out for just because you want to switch over to a new role, or if you may have some reason, some as a personal reason to switch to a new company, it's only then when you have uh, it's not really about loyalty, but it's about your current situation. And when you switch companies, you always bring in the fresh perspective to a new workplace, right? Whatever learnings that you have carried from your previous companies, you bring those learnings to the new companies. And that also gives a lot of fresh perspectives to your leaders. So while loyalty is there, I think loyalty does not necessarily mean that it will be definitely there for a rewarding career. Any person, I've also come across people who have spent these many years who have not even grown as compared to as their peers, because they were stagnant. They were in their comfort zone. They never thought of upskilling themselves, and now it's just a job for them. It's just a 9 to 5 job for them. They have no ambitions of moving ahead. Unfortunately, unfortunate as that is, but yes, uh, loyalty will definitely be there from the employee side, but you never know when the companies stop being loyal to you. So it's always important that you stay upskilled and up to the mark in the IT industry.
That's a plus, absolutely great. I would also like to add one point here that the loyalty should be to your own learning. So always keep learning. If you stay loyal to your learnings, improving yourself every day, you can have the success that you want.
Absolutely agree to that.
Absolutely
Okay,
great. Perfect. So we'll
still
we'll
have.
close the Q&A session as well. And so I personally would like to thank each and every person joining in for the webinar today. Really appreciate your guys' time. I hope you all liked the session. You found it informative. Any feedback that you have, any suggestions that you have, you can always feel free to reach us out. We'll be there to help. And so you guys can wait for another webinar as well. We are doing a series of webinars. So the next webinar will be in a couple of weeks, so not more than a month's time frame. That is going to be really interesting as well. And any questions, anytime, in case if you guys need any help with any kind of hiring requirements or understanding the market, you can reach out to Melwyn Kirath's LinkedIn is in the invite. You can also reach out to me or Herline as well. So thank you so much for your joining in. Really appreciate your time and wish you all a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Thanks all. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.